This last panel of the day looks at how the use of mobile and tablet devices is changing the way we consume content, and we're calling it disruptive consumption. Our moderator is Andrew Rosenman, founder and president of Arise Communications, an advanced media consultancy based in New York. Before forming Arise, Andrew worked in a variety of positions with interactive media agencies, culminating in his leadership of the Mercedes-Benz USA account for Omnicom agency Critical Mass. Throughout his career, he's been in the forefront of media technology, including work on some of the earliest deployments of interactive television. Andrew, it's all yours.
Thank you. I have to remember to update that. It's strange to hear it spoken. Thank you for sticking around today. We think this will be pretty good. I'm not going to take on introducing the esteemed panel, but I will say that having gotten to speak to these guys over the last little while, it's an excellent information resource that we have assembled here. So we have some time. We're going to leave some time for questions at the end. Those of you who have questions that just can't wait, don't be afraid to just blurt them out, and we'll let Chris answer them. So we'll start with Trevor, and we'll work our way down. We'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll get into some of the meat of the order.
Sure. How much time should I use for introduction? 2 seconds?
Well, given who you are.
You're done. That's it.
Right. So I'm Trevor Doerksen. I'm CEO and founder of Mobovivo. Just cut me off when I'm... we're a bunch of producers that a bit technical in nature, got a bit geeky along the way. I used to make snowboarding films and had a science TV series, and then discovered the visual browser, and then as technologies came around. We have a platform we call Stay Tuned, and we call it Stay Tuned because it allows producers to stay tuned to consumers, and it does this in a number of ways. It does this pre-release of content, during broadcast release as a second screen experience, and then as what we used to call, and I think we probably still will, it's hard to say, whether it'll still be called home entertainment. Remember we call home entertainment that DVD, VHS phase? That still exists. People, Netflix sort of proves that still exists. Home entertainment is a window. So that's usually about monetization. Those other two phases, pre-release and broadcast, really about gathering audience. And so this Stay Tuned platform publishes these apps to allow producers to stay tuned to the audience, and the audience to tune in to content. It features an analytics platform that allows for detailed analytics of really every touch of the screen is being measured. The audience probably doesn't like to hear that, but it's really nice that we're able to provide that data and insight. I can actually, if we want to get into data and what people are doing and that sort of thing, I certainly have an opportunity to speak to that, because one of the things I've learned is that all the analysts I follow that track the industry, they don't have apps. They don't have the kinds of exposure to the marketplace and the audience that companies like ours do, and so they're always wrong.
That's an excellent place
They really
to
are.
stop.
They're always wrong. So iPad unit sales is an example. Every quarter, they're under on iPad unit sales. Every quarter, I know, because we sell iPad apps, that there's more than they think there is.
Perry?
I guess that's good news. My name's Perry Bell. Hello, everyone. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of Rogers Digital Media. So I shepherd the 110 brands that are comprised on the consumer side of Rogers Media, consisting of radio, 55 radio stations across the country. You might know a few of them, CHFI and 680 News and Sportsnet Radio here in Toronto. Television assets with City TV being our big over-the-air network, as well as specialty channels like Fox Canada now, and what else do we have? Bio, G4. We've also got Sportsnet, which is quickly evolving into a sports brand to watch in Canada as the first 5-platform brand with magazine, radio, digital, and mobile, and television. Right? I forgot about television. We've got 13 consumer publishing magazines, great ones historically, 80 years old, like Chatelaine. Maclean's is now almost 100 years old. And then we've got some digital pure play businesses as well, like sweetspot.ca and iVillage. And so my team takes on managing those businesses, working closely with the traditional leadership, and we are charged with trying to extend those brands into the new frontier. So essentially, that's what I take care of.
And he does that all with Bell as the last name, a courageous man. But we're sitting here, we're friends. Come on, it's okay.
Chris and I we're the best of frenemies.
Exactly, MLSE. Anyways, my name's Chris Unwin. I work with Bell Media Specialty Channels, so that includes channels like Much Music, MTV, Discovery, Bravo, Comedy, Space. And I work in a strategy role that my job is to kind of connect all of the departments, so digital, broadcast, production, creative, and be the kind of glue or try to initiate conversation and collaboration internally. As these new opportunities on mobile platforms, on social, rise up, some departments kind of catch on to the opportunities sooner than others. And so I help everyone kind of wrap their head around how they can use these platforms to better achieve their job. And so that involves working with partners such as Epitome from a content creation side and taking the Degrassi story and extending that on new platforms, working with technology partners like XMG and building applications, as well as our own internal production teams and having each of our units kind of think about how what they do fills the mobile bucket, the social bucket, and TV itself. So yeah, that's my story.
Michael McCarty, I'm the president of Olay, which is a music publishing company based in Toronto. We're one of the fastest growing, largest independent publishers in the world. Been around about 8 years. We have over $100 million invested in copyrights of songs and compositions. Our business is effectively 2 or 3 different silos. The most visible one would be traditional song publishing. So we own the copyrights and manage the copyrights in a lot of songs. For instance, we have the Taylor Swift co-writer that we publish, and so we were co-owners of most of Taylor Swift's hits. We sign and develop new artists. We have joint venture partners with Canadian management and label companies. We have offices in Toronto, Nashville, and Los Angeles. Another silo of our business is we're one of the bigger players in the world in owning or managing the underlying music copyrights in television shows and films. We have a number of the large Canadian television production companies as clients, and we have a number of U.S. companies as clients. And we just got into a new leg of the business for us. It's an old egg, production music library. So we own stock music libraries, and we just bought a company in the U.S. called The Music Box. And now we have 150,000 tracks in Canada that we represent through tracks that we own through our own development of audio and the Music Box acquisition, as well as other libraries from around the world that we sub-publish in Canada. And so we're a content owner, really what we are, and we license our content, and we're a B2B industry.
So actually, this is terrific. What we have is 2 guys in the middle being kind to each other who are part of these integrated distribution and now media owners. And we were talking earlier, and I think I'm gonna, and we have sort of content on the end and sort of representing the mobile distribution, sort of pure play here with Trevor. But I think what perhaps people want to hear about also is, how's it going, gentlemen, being a enormous distribution company, as well as now being, it's still fairly new to both the Bell and Rogers organizations, to be a media owner as well as a distributor and maintaining a subscription business. There's plenty of, there's probably plenty. We could probably fill the next hour with it, but why don't we start with Chris? I'll set you up.
Yeah, from our perspective, Bell's acquisition of CTV Globe Media was less than a year ago, so we're still in the honeymoon phase. But I think it's an interesting opportunity. Being on the strategy side when the acquisition first was greenlit, I started drooling about the opportunity in terms of what Bell can do for a user experience to bring our content to mobile, to IPTV. So I think that the future is very bright in terms of where we'll go as a company. Certainly in the meantime, having been a part of CTV when they acquired Chum, it was interesting to have two businesses come together that were in the same business. In the instance of Bell acquiring CTV Globe Media, I find that players on both sides are now kind of learning each other's business. And I guess the goal is for 1 + 1 to kind of equal 3. We kind of learn each other's business and then brainstorm on where we go from there.
And I'm particularly interested in the fact that I think Rogers Media, a very diverse business. You mentioned not only the print publications and that being almost a century in print, but also radio as well as the television properties and all that. That's a very broad content base.
My comment would be that if the honeymoon is still on for Bell and CTV, we've passed our 7-year itch and have made the reconfirmation of our vows. I would say media at Rogers is in a terrific place. We've really been supported and identified as an area of growth. We have passed that awkward time of the questions around, well, why do we have a media company if we're a cable company? In the same way that many years ago, Ted was always asked at cocktail parties, what would have inspired you to sell off those American cable holdings to buy some spectrum for this wireless thing where people were holding the bricks up and that was their wireless phones? That turned out to be a good gamble. We've got a company that's built around innovation and entrepreneurialism, and so that foray into media has had its roots, and now we've actually become we're still the flea on the tail of the dog in terms of scale, but we've become very important, and we are now looked to help solve problems around an understanding that the communication company is more than just collecting credit cards. We need to connect with our customers. We need to, and to do that with the new emerging platforms, user experience is more important than anything than it's ever been. That customer experience, that understanding what customers want. And a media company was built around that premise of how do we please audiences, how do we grow audiences. And so we've now become, it's more like the peanut butter and the chocolate. We're working well.